So this is going to be an unexciting video, but per request, I just needed to let someone know. I was asked to do a job that I'm not assigned to do. As a contractor, and contractors will understand this, you do your job, you get paid to do your job. You don't get paid to do other people's jobs. If they ask you to do other people's jobs and you can do them, that's fine. But I was asked to do a job. I had finished my work and was asked to do a job that I didn't feel comfortable with. I'm not going to do a job I don't feel comfortable with because you're not paying me to do that job. You're paying me to do my job. So the best way I can try to explain it is, if you're an electrician, you don't do plumbing. That's just it. You get paid to come in and do your job as an electrician. If they ask you to change some pipes or fix a leak or something, that's not your job. They can ask you to do it, and if you can, then proceed. Perfectly fine. So I was at work and I got done with my job. I didn't have anything to do for the rest of the day. But in order to get paid for my holiday pay, I had to stay until my shift was over. Well, I got dismissed because I had already done what it was I needed to do. I got moved to a different department in a position that I didn't feel comfortable being in, and I had a problem with it. So I left. Mind you, before I left, I asked my boss, can I leave? I can't do this. Do you have anything else for me to do? He said, no, you can go. So I left my shift early, and that was it. I was told I'm not going to get my holiday pay because I didn't finish my shift. I was released twice that day. So I take it up with HR because I told my supervisor that I report to that I'm not coming in unless I'm guaranteed my pay, because I was here, did my job, you owe me my pay. I got terminated. Why I got terminated? Because they said that I called in and quit. I told them I wasn't coming back in unless I got my holiday pay. They refused to tell me whether or not I was getting my holiday pay. They just terminated me. I don't know what to say about it. That's, what do you say about that? You know, I'm a contractor. I come in, I do a job, you pay me for it, I leave. That's how it works. I understand it's an hourly system that they work on, but I'm also, how do I say it? I'm also contracted to a specific department for which I applied for. So whenever they want to shift me around, that's on them. They have to make the decision what they're doing. If I don't get informed, I didn't even know who my supervisor was at that point because I had been released and I didn't even know. But I found out later after I was released again. So I'm having this whole unstable relationship with the company, and they have provided medic on site. So I went to talk to the medic because, therapy or whatever. They already know I have a disability, recorded, put that in my application. They know everything, but they want to sit and tell me to go talk to somebody. Like, I talked to 4 supervisors. No, I talked to a floor lead. I talked to management. I talked to another floor lead. And by that point, I was so stressed out that I had to go and see the medic because it just wasn't working out. So after they released me and I clocked out, I said, I'm not coming back unless you guarantee me holiday pay. Because I came in, I worked. They told me that I wasn't there on time. My contract with them stated that I was supposed to be there at 6. They randomly changed my contract in the middle of everything and say that you have to be here and do anything we want whenever. I did sign up for that. I also signed up saying that I couldn't do that because disability. So they are trying to withhold holiday pay for me. And I'm just like, I want to go back to work. I'll go back and do my job on Monday. But I've read the paperwork. I read everything. Half of it's not even like properly. They haven't updated it in forever. So, like, our hours used to be 6 to 2:30. Now it's 5 to 3:30 because we work 4 10s instead of 5 6 5 8. So, it doesn't bode well for my sanity. Because I have whatever it is that I got, and I'm frustrated, and I need to make a little rant about it because maybe eventually somebody will see this. I don't know if anybody pays attention to my YouTube channel anyway, or if they even know, but it's a symbol of, you have to know your worth. I'm definitely worth more than what I'm being paid for, because I can pick up like that. So you show me what to do, I'll do it. Right? That in itself is worth something. Aside from that, I don't like being shuffled around departments. You shouldn't have to be shuffled around departments to be worth, being there. That is not something that's just not something that you should have to do. It's like being assigned a task initially. You need to be good at that task. And then if the opportunity arises, you can go to do another task that you could be good at. I finished all my work. I'm good at my task. That doesn't mean that you can freely transfer me into another department just because management said so. That's not how that works. I finished my task. If I don't have any more to do, that's it. That's what I was there to do. You don't just get to ask me to do anything ever, and that's like, I tried to explain it to HR and management, and they said at the bottom of your contract it says, or your application, which is my contract, it says, and any other assigned tasks. So that means that if the management if the factory, what do they call him? The plant manager. If the plant manager was out for the day, I could potentially be plant manager for the day. That's what that means. I don't know if that's what they thought that would mean, but that's what that means. So if the plant manager's out and they just come up to me and say, hey, I need you to run the floor and handle all this paperwork, that's my goal. I'm not good with that. They are trying to put me through a loophole, saying that they asked me to do a task, I said no, and then now I'm not getting my pay because they have this loophole. So this is my rant. I already told them I have a disability, which requires me to potentially be off of work because of my disability. And you know, like my disability is stress-based because I'm very so this is where it is now. This is my unloading into my diary, basically. I guess YouTube is going to be considered my diary. But I really think that it's unfair, and I think that it shows that that's how most corporate, most workplaces are. And I think it's unfair to a lot of people that they're asked to do a lot of things that they don't want to do or are not qualified to do, because I don't want to mess things up doing something that I'm not familiar with or not qualified to do. I understand the company wants me to learn stuff, grow, that's how that works. But at the same time, they're still paying me the base pay, and trying to talk to people is like, I spent more time talking to people about the job than doing the job, than getting someone else to do the job that was more qualified than me. So I think the lack of efficiency is an issue. It's frustrating, because whenever you sit there and you can see the problems and you can tell them the problems and they just go talk to somebody else. Corporate structure is amazing. Be a contractor. Don't be bullied. I feel like I'm being bullied. I feel like, I'm they're not going to pay me because I wouldn't do a job that I wasn't qualified to do or paid to do. They were going to pay me to do it hourly. My hourly for my job, not that job, because that job was worth more than my job. So they were going to get cheap labor just purely because they were going to move me into a different department so that I could have an hourly pay. But they were going to pay me the same instead of paying me for doing the job. I just had a problem with it. Didn't know who to talk to. Talk to the medic on file. She was there that one day, just happened to be there. Talked to her. And it just don't let. I'm not. I don't want to be taken advantage of like that. So, I don't have anything against the company. The company's good, decent company. They're very understandable most of the time, reasonable. But, sometimes whenever you try to communicate the issues, it gets just kind of tossed around in the mix, and nobody actually understands what it is you're trying to say. So hopefully I'm going to go back and talk to the plant manager or second in charge, COO. I'm not sure what he is. that's another thing I have a problem with, is there's no designated structure that is like readily available to understand. So like I had 4 supervisors on the day that this all happened. So hopefully when I go and talk to him, we can work something out. And that's basically it. I'm just, I need to pay the bills. I don't have many bills. I need to pay them though. And I like the company. There's a lot of opportunity. I don't want to leave unless I'm just, unless they don't want me. So this is where I'm at. So I got a backup. At least I have a backup. Always have a backup. So anyway, that's my little spiel right now. I'm just kind of sitting, going through my head, thinking about things. Thought I would record just to maybe review, make it make sense. I mean, I don't think I'm being unreasonable, especially for the price that I think I'm worth versus the price that they're paying me. So it's like, oh yeah, we'll pay you less, but you have unlimited overtime. Well, that's great. How about you just pay me what I'm worth and I'll get the job done in the normal time? But that's how it goes, I guess. Unless you're, specifically contracted. So that's where I'm going to go with it. And that's about it. That's just my diary entry. It's been an interesting week. It's been a very interesting week. Yep. So I'm gonna go get cleaned up and talk to myself later, I guess.